Hi, my name is Sharon. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this adorable little baby hat. It's for a 0 to 3 month old baby. Has a nice rib and a nice little cable detail. And we decrease the top so that it comes to a nice circle at the crown. And I'm going to teach you how to make this. Please make sure that you give this video a like. Make sure that you are subscribed and click that notification bell so that you get reminded every time I upload a video. So let's get started and make this beautiful hat. To make your baby hat, I am using Bernat Softy Baby, which is a 3-weight yarn, and it recommends a 4mm needle or a US size 6. I am using double pointed needles, and I like to divide my work over 4 needles and then knit with the 5th needle, which is what I'll be doing. So here I have my 4 needles, and when we cast on, I'll show you how to divide them. And then here's my 5th needle that I'll use to work. Also, because this is a cable hat, you're going to need a cable needle. There's all different types of cable needles. You just want to use one that's an appropriate size to your yarn. These two are too thick, and here's another pack. I could use this yellow one as well, but I'm fine with this type also. In a pinch, if you don't have a cable needle, you can also use a 6th DPN and use that just to hold your stitches. We're just doing a basic cable, letting the yarn fall forward, so it doesn't matter. You know, you don't have to have one that has the bent edge to it. That part doesn't matter. And then I'll be using a stitch counter because I want to keep track of my rows. Scissors for when we finish, and a needle to weave in the ends. I like using a sharp needle because I can really bury those stitches in not the stitches, I can bury the tail into the stitches really well so that it won't come undone. So I'm choosing to use a sharp needle, but if you prefer a darning needle, then you can use that. That's fine too. So I'm going to show you how to cast on and explain the pattern to you. So to make this hat, we're going to be casting on 72 stitches. In order to do that, we're going to use the long tail cast on method, and it's called that because you are literally leaving a long tail. You'll figure out your own method of how much of a tail you need, but I figure about an arm's length is about 25-ish stitches. So I just count off by that, and hopefully I counted about right and don't have too long of a tail that I'm wasting too much yarn. So we want to start with a slip knot. So there's different ways to make a slip knot. I like to have my tail on the right, my working yarn on my left. I twist my working yarn so that it's over the tail, and then I put the tail part through, pull up that loop, and there I have my slip knot. And it's called a slip knot because you can adjust it. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. And then I'm going to put my DPN on and tighten it up. You don't want it too tight, but you want it tight enough that it can slide back and forth comfortably over your needle. You don't want it too tight that it doesn't move, but you don't want it too loose that it's sagging either. Now to do the long tail cast on, you're going to hold it sideways. Again, my tail is over here on my right side, my working yarn on my left side, and I'm going to take my index finger, my thumb, and put them in between the two yarns so that my thumb is on the tail. So T for thumb, T for tail, and my index finger has my working yarn, and then I'm going to grasp both strands of yarn with my pinky and my ring finger. My middle finger is just kind of hanging out there on its own. And then I'm going to bring the needle down so that it looks like I've created a slingshot. So again, all I'm doing is putting my fingers in between, grasping the yarn underneath. So now I have like a diamond shape, and pulling the yarn and putting my needle straight up, pointing towards the ceiling, and pulling the thread taut so that it looks like a slingshot. Now I'm going to go under that first strand over the next strand, and I'm going to pull the next strand through that loop and drop my thumb. Now I've casted on 2 stitches. Your slip knot counts as your first stitch. So again, pulling it down so it looks like a slingshot, under the first strand, over the next one, taking that third strand and pulling it through the hole that I made, and then dropping my thumb. And that creates my stitch. And when you drop your thumb, you want to use it to pull the tail so that it creates that stitch. So again, under, over, and pull the next one through. Drop the thumb and pull it. Under, over, pull the next one through, and drop it. And as you get into a rhythm, you can make smaller movements, and it goes pretty quickly. And I have another video teaching how to cast on if you look through my playlist. So since I'm doing 72 stitches and I'm dividing it over 4 needles, I'm going to have 18 stitches on each needle. So right now I'm not really counting. I'm just casting on my stitches until I get a whole bunch on there, and then I'm going to start transferring them over. That's the one thing when you're casting on a lot of stitches. You don't really have to necessarily count every single stitch in the beginning. You just know that you're casting on a lot. And you just kind of want to do it quickly. And it is a bit of a strain on your wrist, especially here. If you have carpal tunnel or something, you know, you might want to choose a different cast on method. As you see, I tend to drop my yarn and wiggle my fingers and just give my wrist a break every so often. And I will manage to cast on that way. So I'm going to go ahead and continue this. And when I think that I'm close to about 18 stitches or so, I'm going to count that off, and I'll show you how to transfer that onto the next needle. If you've never knit before, I highly suggest learning how. It's a lot of fun, and especially if you want to make things in the round, unless you're doing ribbing stitch, which we will be doing that for this hat, but if you only know the knit stitch, you can do that in the round, and it makes a beautiful, beautiful fabric. It automatically purls for you when you knit in the round. So you, instead of getting a garter stitch fabric, you will get a stockinette stitch fabric, and it's just so pretty. So I'm sure I have at least 18 stitches here. So what I'm going to do is, from the beginning where I started, not the end, we're going to start transferring our stitches. So I'm going to slide these down and just scoop these onto the next needle. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So now I have 18 stitches on this needle, and I'm going to continue to cast on to this one, and then when I get another 18 stitches ready, I'm going to put them onto another needle. So let's continue our casting on. Make sure that your yarn is not twisted. Okay, now I'm going to take another cable needle, cable needle, another DPN, and I'm going to switch another 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, so now you have stitches on 3 needles, and we need to get one more needle with 18 stitches, and then make sure that our last one has 18 stitches as well. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, so I have too many stitches, so I'm going to drop some of them off. Let me count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, so here's my stitches all settled on. There are 18 on each one. You want to make sure that all of your bumps, for lack of a better word, are all facing the inside. If any of them are twisted, like here's what it looks like if it's twisted, you want to bring them all around so that they're all on the inside. Now, I'm going to teach you something that is not always taught, but a lot of times when you join your yarn, there will be a little gap and there will be like an extra, like a pull on a row of yarn that'll show where that join is. So I'm actually going to cast on a 19th stitch, one extra. And the reason for that is because I'm going to take that extra yarn that I just joined in and I'm going to transfer it to my last needle here. Pull that down tight again. What just happened? Oh, did I lose it? I think I lost it. Let me count. 18, yeah, I lost it. 19. So now my stitches are all joined together and it makes a perfect circle. And again, you want to make sure that all of your bumps are facing the middle. Okay, so now it's a square. It's not really a circle, but now you have a square. So I overestimated my yarn and I have too long of a tail. So you can do one of a few things. You can either trim that yarn down, which I think that's what I'm going to do. Or you could take it all apart and cast on again, but I'm not going to do that. So now I want to take my 5th needle, and the first row is always the hardest. It's always the most flimsy. And as you can see, this just fell off. So I want to stick that back on. Oh, and I forgot one more thing that we need. We're going to need a stitch marker. Okay, I'm back with the stitch marker. I'll edit the beginning and put in writing that we need the stitch marker. Sorry about that. So we have our extra stitch that we moved over, and I'm holding my needles so that everything, it was in a square shape. I'm picking it up and I'm holding it so that I can hold the working yarn in my right hand, making sure that nothing is twisted. Now, when you're working with DPNs, you're really only working with 2 needles at a time. Again, I know it seems very fiddly, and it is very fiddly in the beginning, but you'll see it's very easy. I'm going to put my stitch marker onto that last needle that has the extra stitch, and just in that one row, I'm going to be knitting these 2 stitches together. So in the beginning, I'm going to continue as though everything is normal. So I'm taking my 5th needle, putting it through that first stitch, and I'm going to knit 1, knit 2. So this is just like regular knitting. And now I'm going to purl 2. So to purl 2, I'm going to move my yarn in front. I'm going to go under that stitch, wrap the yarn around. And I lost it. Let's try that again. And purl 2. And this is going to make a nice little rib for the base of our hat. Now I'm going back to knit stitch. So put my yarn back, knit 2, and I just lost my other stitch. That's all right, we'll fix it. Purl 2. My stitch is still there, it just fell off the needle. I'm just going to put it right back on. So knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, this is the worst part. Once we get past this first row, it'll be smooth sailing. And if it's easier for you to do this on a cable needle, why do I keep saying cable needle? On the knitting needle connected by the long cable, which I'm blanking out on the name of that again, circular needle. If it's easier to use circs to do this, you can feel free to do that as well. I like using DPNs, and I'm comfortable with the first row being fiddly, so okay, so I'm ending this row with the knit 2, or this needle I should say, with the knit 2. So my next needle is going to be a purl 2. I keep losing that extra stitch. I'll just leave this off here for now. I know that when I get to that needle, I'll know that that's my last needle. Okay, so now I'm going to purl 2. So just pretending that those other needles aren't there, you're going right into purl. So you're really only knitting with 2 needles. You're ignoring the others. They're just hanging out a little bit in the way, but you can work around them. Now I'm on the third needle, and we ended in a purl 2. So now I'm starting with a knit 2. And I can get a better hold of that fourth needle now so that it's not flopping around and falling off again. Okay, just fixing my stitches there and making sure that everything is together. So now I'm on a purl 2. I'm putting my needle in purlwise. Knit 2. Purl 2. Knit 2. Purl 2. Knit 2. Purl 2. Knit 2. Now I'm on my purl 2, but I'm purling this one. And now I need to purl these 2 stitches together. So I'm putting my needle through both stitches. And purling together. And now I've attached my yarn. Pull my tail. And now we're attached and everything is in a perfect circle. And I need to add my stitch marker back on. I think what I'm going to do is put my stitch marker in between the first and second stitch, and that way I won't keep losing it, because it's not doing any good being on the end. So now my first 2 stitches are knit 2. Let's do it this way. Knit 2, purl 2, oh, and I almost forgot, I need to click that we did our first row. And now we're back to knit 2. Make sure that you're moving your yarn back and forth for your knit stitches and your purl stitches. And now you see how much easier it is now that everything's attached and that first row is done. So much easier now. We're back to purl 2. So I'm just going to continue doing this all the way around until I have about an inch, which I'm guessing it'll be maybe about 4 or 5, maybe 5 or 6 rows. I'll come back to you when I have about an inch and tell you how many rows I've done. So see you back in a little bit. Okay, so I did 6 rows of knit 2, purl 2, and this is what we have. So it's a very beautiful rib and tiny, but it'll stretch for a newborn. I moved my stitch marker so it's between the first 2 stitches. You could do it between the last 2 stitches, whatever, works for you. So it's approximately an inch, which was 6 rows, and now I'm just going to knit 2 rows. So now instead of doing knit 2, purl 2, I'm literally going to just knit every stitch. Move my marker, and now I'm just going to knit every stitch around, and by knitting the 2 rows, that'll just give me a base for my cables, so that the cable isn't into the ribbing part. You'll see when we get around, it gives a nice base for it so that you don't have a rib on the, you don't have a cable on the ribbing. Mixing up my words. So literally, I'm just knitting every stitch around. And continuing onto the next needle, and see how much easier it is once you get a few rows in. Really makes all the difference. That first row is just so tricky, but once you get past it, it's just so much easier to go through. So continue this for 2 more rows, and then I'll meet you back to start the cable. Okay, so I just knitted 2 rows, and it's kind of hard to see, but there's enough of a base there that our cable shouldn't go into the ribbing. So now the next part of my pattern for the cable says to knit 6 stitches. So we're going to knit the first 6. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then take 3 stitches and put them onto a cable needle. So here's my 3, and I'm just going to let that cable needle hang down with my stitches on it, and then knit the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and now I have to knit the 3 from the cable needle. So now 1, and I'm just knitting them right off the cable needle. 2, 3. And now knit 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm going to slip 3 onto the cable needle. 1, 2, 3. Let it hang forward. And now I'm going to knit 3. 1, 2, 3, and knit 3 off my cable needle. Getting a little bit twisted up here. Here we go. One, 2, 3, and then knit the next 3. Did I do that wrong? Now we come to the next needle, and I'm going to take the first 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and let them hang forward. And I'm going to knit the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to knit the 3 off the cable needle. 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to knit 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm going to put 3 stitches on the cable needle. 1, 2, 3. Let them hang forward. Knit the next 3. 1, 2, 3. And knit the 3 from the cable needle. One, 2, 3. And it is going to be a little bit tighter, so you do have to kind of adjust yourself for that. And now knit 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Take 3. 1, 2, 3. Let them hang forward. One, 2, 3. And as you can probably see by now, all a cable is knitting your stitches out of order. So don't let it intimidate you. 1, 2, 3. And then knit 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we're going to put 3 on our cable needle. 1, 2, 3. Let that hang forward. Knit the next 3. 1, 2, 3. Knit the 3 from the cable needle. 1, 2, 3. So now we're going to knit 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put 3 on the cable needle. Knit 3. 1, 2, 3. And knit the 3 from the cable needle. 1, 2, just finished the next row. So I'm going to click that. And you can't really see anything just yet. You'll see more of the cable as we knit the next few rows. So now we're going back to just plain knitting, and we're going to knit the next 5 rows. We're going to repeat the cable every 6 rows. Since we have a 6-stitch cable, you're going to cable every 6th row. So this row is just plain knit. And you're knitting every stitch in the order that it comes to you. The cable stitches are going to be a little bit tight, but that's okay. They're supposed to be. Remember, you twisted them. So they're going to be a little bit tighter than normal stitches. And you can sort of start to see that cable coming into view. And we're just going to continue this around, as I said, for 5 more rows, and then we'll go back to cabling. So I'm just going to continue around, and I'll meet you back when we get to row 14, and I'll see you there. We're now getting ready to do row 15, and you can kind of see your cable there. So we're going back to the cable needle. So we're going to knit the first 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're going to take our cable needle and slip the first 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. Let them just drop down to the front. Whoop. Knit the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. Knit the 3 from the cable needle. 1, 2, 3. Now you can really see that cable coming to life. Knit the next 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, I just want to show you that cable. I love cables, they're so beautiful. Okay, now we're going to cable again. So the first 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, and then knit the 3 from the cable needle. 1, 2, 3, knit 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and we're going to make another cable. So 1, 2, 3, knit these 3, 1, 2, 3, knit the 3 from the cable needle, 1, 2, 3. I don't know why this one's a little bit tighter, but it is. And there we can see our cables really coming up. And now we're going to knit 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then cable 1, 2, 3, knit 3, 1, 2, 3, knit 3 from the cable needle, 1, 2, 3, knit 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, slip 3 onto your cable needle, knit 3, 1, 2, 3, knit 3 from your cable needle, 1, 2, 3, knit 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, take 3 onto your cable needle, knit 3, 1, 2, 3, and knit 3 from the cable needle. 1, 2, 3, so here's our hat so far, and you can see those gorgeous cables now really taking shape. And we're going to knit the next 5 rows and then come back and do one more cable. So start knitting your next 5 rows. That'll take you to row 20, and I will see you back here. Okay, so I'm on row 20. I finished row 20, so I'm ready to do the next cable. So I'm going to knit 6, and by now you should have this down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll just do this first cable with you, and then you should be able to do the rest on your own. 1, 2, 3. Knit 3. 1, 2, 3, and then knit the 3 from the cable needle. 1, 2, 3, and you're just going to continue around knitting the next 6 and then doing your cables 3 by 3 all the way until you get back to the beginning, and then you'll do 5 rows of knit, which will take us to row 26, I believe. So I'll meet you back after row 26. See you in a little bit. Okay, I'm on row 25, getting ready to do row 26, and this is how our hat looks so far. Really, really cute. This time though, you're going to do your cable on row 26, and then I want you to stop when you get to row 30. We're going to start doing decreases on the top now to finish off the hat. So do your cable on row 26 and then stop when you get to row 30, and I will be back to show you how to start doing your decrease. Okay, see you in a bit. So I just finished row 30. For row 31, we're going to start our decreases, and we're going to decrease on the 6th stitch. So we're going to knit 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and knit 2 together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, knit 2 together. 1, 2, 3, 5, knit 2 together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, knit 2 together, and continue this all the way around. And you're going to end with knit 2. The next row around, you're going to just knit all the way around. Okay, that was row 32. And now you're going to knit 4 and then knit 2 together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together, 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to start this row with the knit 2 together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 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 and I'm going to place this on the other needle and then knit 2 together. One, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together, one, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together, knit the last 2, and the next row we're going to knit. Knit all the way around. Next row, we're going to knit 3 and then knit 2 together. One, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to place this needle or this stitch on the other needle and then knit 2 together. One, 2, 3, knit 2 together. Come on, there we go. One, 2, 3, knit 2 together. Place this stitch on the next needle. One, knit 2 together, sorry. 1, 2, 3, knit 2 together. One, 2, 3, knit 2 together. One, 2, 3, 3, knit 2 together, 1, 2, 3, knit 2 together, 1, 2, 3, knit 2 together, 'kay? And now the next row around, we're just going to knit. This is what we have so far. For our next row, we're going to knit 2 and then knit 2 together. So 1, 2, knit 2 together. Wants to split. There we go. 1, 2, knit 2 together. 1, 2. I'm going to move this onto the next needle. And knit 2 together. Knit 1, 2, knit 2 together. Continue this all the way around. And we're left with 1, and we're just going to knit that 1. And the next row, we're going to knit all the way around. And I forgot to click that last one. Okay, next row we are going to knit 1, knit 2 together all the way around. 2 together, knit 1, move this onto the next needle, knit 2 together, knit 1, 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 move this onto the next needle, knit 2 together, knit 1, knit 2 together, knit 1, knit 2 together, and we're left with the knit 1. And the next round, I'm going to knit all the way around. And I'm leaving my stitch marker after the first 2 because the next round we're going to be knitting 2 together. So I'm just setting myself up to make it easier. Now we're going to knit 2 together all the way around. And I have 1 left over, so we're just going to knit that 1. And now I'm going to take a long tail And I'm going to take my yarn needle, and I want to use I like to use a sharp tip needle, as it really helps to weave in those ends and get it all mixed up into the stitches and into the yarn so that it doesn't come out. I'm going to thread that on, and now I'm just going to go around and pick up the stitches onto the yarn needle. Take off my stitch marker. My yarn is twisted around this needle. There we go. And then when you pull it through everything, it cinches up the hat. Now, I'm going to turn this inside out to finish up darning around it, because I want to make sure that I really weave in those ends, but I'm really just going to go around one more time around that circle of stitches to really make sure that I get that circle closed. Okay, and now I'm going to go inside and turn the hat inside out. And now again, I'm going to weave around those stitches. And I'm just going to weave a little bit back and forth. Make sure that you can't see it on the other side. And turning it to make sure that I can't see my needle through the other side, which means that I won't see the yarn through the other side. And that should be good. And just do one more. Okay, and then I'm going to cut off that end. And then I want to weave in my tail beginning. And for this one, I'm going to hide it right in here. Hiding it right inside. You don't want to pull it too tight, but hide it right inside the ribbing. You can't see it from the other side. See? You can't see the needle on the other side, which means that you can't see the yarn. And now I'm coming up to the top. Making sure that I'm not pulling too hard, making sure that it's still stretching. Zoe's giving her opinion there. Double checking that you can't see the needle. And now I'm just gonna go back and forth a few times. And cut off that end. And there's our beautiful cabled baby hat. I hope you liked it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.